Hi, I'm Steve Adubato. This is the Tisch WNET studio here in the heart of New York City. We're pleased to welcome Alicia Menendez. She's the author of The Likeability Trap. How you doing?
So great to see you, Steve.
Good to see you. We've known each other since you were a kid. I hate saying that because that just makes me really old.
But it makes me feel really young, which I appreciate.
Yeah, glad. It's fun. I'm here to make you feel good. Let's jump right into this likability thing. We're doing this program at the end of 2019. Right after Kamala Harris dropped out of the race. Stay with the race. It'll go on in 2020. You'll see this. I thought she was incredibly likable. She still is like, what am I missing?
Well, likability is wildly subjective. That's part of it. So what you like, somebody else cannot like. And when it comes to women who are running for office, they face a number of challenges. So for starters, voters will vote for a man they don't like, so long as they believe he's competent. But when it comes to women candidates, they have to both like the woman candidate and believe she's competent. So she has to clear both hurdles. And so it's complicated for women. It's additionally complicated for women of color. And what I don't want to lose in that conversation is that all of that mirrors things that happen to women in the workplace every day.
Oh, wow. A lot going on there. But let's go take a couple years back. Hillary Clinton.
Hillary Clinton.
I just had this conversation with someone earlier. We were taping today. The likability factor, if you will, in 2016 for Hillary Clinton, a problem?
A huge problem. Huge problem. I, as a journalist, was traveling the country, and I would do these sort of unofficial focus groups. And it seemed that no matter who you spoke with, there was this question of whether or not they were willing to vote for Hillary Clinton. And I felt that many of the voters I spoke with sort of made a similar argument. They would focus on what they believed was the substance of their argument, and then inevitably downshift into, well, I just don't like her, for those who were not going to vote for her. And when you would push, well, what is it you don't like? Very often it was just this gut feeling. And what was interesting to me was that almost became harder to debate or harder to argue over, because it said,
subjective.
I feel this at a gut level, and you can't argue with what I feel at a gut level. And listen, for Hillary Clinton, there was a long history of public life, a long history of public service. But if you're running for office, what you're saying implicitly is that you are a person who believes that you are worthy of power. Even if your intention is to represent your community and benefit your community, that's the undercurrent of running for office. And when a woman says, I believe that I am worthy of power, she immediately becomes less likable. We believe it's less likable.
Whoa, back up.
Why?
In corporate America, in the media, world of media, she's strong, she believes in herself, she has confidence. We like that. Don't play that?
I mean, you may like that, but in general, what we find is that when a woman is strong, it violates the expectation that she's supposed to be warm, that she's supposed to be communal, that she's supposed to do what is in everyone's best interest. So putting your name into contention, the day you run, Chris Quinn, who'd run for mayor of New York City.
Yeah, we've had Christine here many times.
She told me the day you run, you have a new negative.
The day you decide to
the day you declare. The day you declare your intention to run.
For a woman different than a man?
Because we believe it is in men's nature to want and to strive for power. When we see women do that, it's a little bit uncomfortable because it's not the expectation that we have of women.
Has it changed dramatically in the last, well, it appears, based on your research and what you're saying, you don't think it has?
I think where it has changed is that the sexism has become more subtle. So, you know, you go back 40, 50 years ago, some of those expectations would have been much more overt, and now they manifest in ways that the person who's giving you feedback might not even recognize as bias. So women tend to get a lot of critical, subjective feedback, meaning that we go into meetings where people talk about how we use our hands and how we use our voice and how we sit in a chair. And that feedback tends to go in one of two directions. Either you're told you're too much, too aggressive, too assertive, need to tone it down, or you're told that you're not enough, that you don't take up enough space, you don't take up enough oxygen, you don't have what it takes to lead. And so what that means is that you can either perform the way we expect a leader to perform, which is strong, or you can perform the way we expect a woman to perform, which is warm, but you can't do both. And where that leaves women is that there's no way then to be a likable lady leader.
Have you struggled? I'm curious about this, and I don't know. It's nothing to disclose because it's what it is. You grew up in a political family. I grew up in a political family. You're extremely prominent with your dad being a member of the United States Senate. I told you he influenced me when I was a young kid growing up in Jersey.
I love
He ran
that
for the school board at 19 years of age. He was elected and fought against some powerful forces in Union City, New Jersey. That being said, where does your sense of confidence, of I'm going to put my hat in the ring, come from? And do you, loaded question, do you care if you're liked?
I care a lot. I mean, that's part of why I set out to write the Likeability Trap, because I wanted to, as a person who cares about being well-liked, learn to care less. That is harder.
Hold on.
Than it seems
sorry for
to be.
interrupting. The goal was to care less?
Yeah, to care less. I mean, there are all these reasons to care more, right? But part of what I think we miss when we talk about this, specifically when it comes to women, because we socialize girls and women like myself to care what other people think about them, is that we as women pay a price, an emotional price, for internalizing that demand, right? That after I leave the set, right, my first question will be, did Steve like me? And I don't want that to be my first question, right? I want my first question to be like, was I clear? Did I deliver the message that I wanted to deliver? Did I perhaps act in service of someone else? But sort of the gut instinct is to say, was that the type of interaction that the other person felt favorably about?
But why would that be, excuse me, why would that be any different than did Alicia like me?
So are you concerned about it?
I won't stay up at night thinking about it, but the reality is, if you truthfully, if you walked out, and this is where I'm trying to figure out where the difference is without being overly philosophical, if you walked out and said to your friends and people around you, not that it matters that much, but I did Adubato show over at public television, he's not a great listener, he wasn't even any fun, he was whatever. That would bother me.
Yeah.
He's not even that good. Okay, so what's the difference?
Well, there are a few differences. One is, as you said, you wouldn't lose sleep about it. There are a lot of women who, because we're taught to focus on and think of ourselves in relation to other people, we can actually develop what they call a hyper-relational focus, where our thinking about other people becomes an overthinking about other people, and where it can keep us up at night. They call it rumination. You sort of will think about the exchange
Dr.
over
Richard
and
Carlson
over.
used to call it the danger of spiral thinking. Got about a minute left. I want to ask you something. You have 2 young children. How the heck do you pull off what you do professionally? I'm reading this book called Off Balance right now. Check it out. It's about work-life balance, which doesn't exist, and creating something called work-life integration. Do you know what that is?
Yeah, I mean, I call it work-life fit, which is a Calios term, but yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
How do you?
It's messy, and I embrace the fact that it's messy and that my house is a mess and that we're always flying by the seat of our pants, and that's okay. I mean, that you want a big life, it's gonna be a messy life, and I've learned to embrace the mess, which is very hard because I'm actually a pretty tidy person.
You're doing well.
Thank you so much.
Messy and all. So listen, check out Alicia Menendez. Just go look and find her. The Likeability Trap. She'll be doing all kinds of other things. We don't want to jinx anything. That's why we're not going to talk about it right now. But you're going to be doing great things in 2020 because I like you and I see it.
I like that.
Well
Thank
done.
you. Thank you so much.
Please do me a favor. Give my best to your dad and your family. It's one-on-one. I'll be right back right after this.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation. This special edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato is brought to you from the Tisch WNET studios at Lincoln Center. Funding has been provided by New Jersey Sharing Network, the Turl Fund, supporting Right from the Start NJ, the New Jersey Education Association, PSC&G, the Russell Berry Foundation, MD Advantage Insurance Company, Investors Bank, and by Kessler Foundation. Promotional support provided by Insider NJ and by New Jersey Monthly. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area.